Hey YouTube, it's the man who likes to RANT, dropping a brand new VID for you today. And before we get to the topic of discussion, two things. I want to wish you all a belated happy Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoyed the holiday yesterday and the time with your family. And also, I want to apologize for the lateness of this video because at the time of the pay-per-view itself, I had some issues going on that demanded my attention to be pulled in other directions. But I'm back and ready to talk about the topic of the day, which is Survivor Series 2015. Was this the best pay-per-view WWE has ever produced? Oh, sweet Christmas, no. Was it the worst? No, and it's gotten a lot of flack from the internet wrestling community because of some of the matches that went on, and I really think most of it is undeserved, but we're going to get to that in a second, because to start us off, of course, we have to talk about the Mountain Dew Preshow match. A traditional Survivor Series affair featuring the Dudley Boys, Goldust, Neville, and Titus O'Neil versus Stardust, The Ascension, Bo Dallas, and The Miz. Excuse me for looking at my screen, but I didn't want to miss any of the participants in this matchup. This was a decent matchup, and under normal circumstances, it would have done exactly what a pre-show match was supposed to do. Get you hyped up for the match, get you hyped up for the kind of matches you're going to see. However, this was hampered because of the World Title Tournament. So normally I'd be very against it, but it gets a pass because of the extenuating circumstances. I was pleased to see that Neville's streak of hitting people with his red arrow and keeping them down for 3 seconds is still intact. I will say this anytime that Neville is featured in a match and wins. Having a wrestler that has an actual finisher that beats people the first time he hits it is incredibly refreshing in this modern day product. No big surprise because the face side had the much better talent that it actually went over The Miz and Stardust and everybody. I will say the exchanges between Goldust and Stardust in these matches were much better than the match they had at Fastlane. So I'm still fired up to see that kind of rivalry in future pay-per-views. Maybe even a Mania. Yeah, it's worthy of a Mania match. Excuse me. Much better, and you can get some mileage out of that rivalry. Good way to start the show. Good way to get me fired up. So now we come to the Survivor Series World Title Tournament. And we begin with Alberto Del Rio versus Roman Reigns. Let's get the biggest distraction out of the way. Alberto Del Rio chose to fake bake. Spray on tan for this match. And God, it showed. Alberto, my friend, you're already naturally tan. There's no need to add anything extra to it. You want to talk to someone who might benefit from a little fake baking? That's our good buddy Shamo, but we'll get to him later on because there's plenty that happened with him in this pay-per-view. This was a good match because it was strongman versus not so strongman, but it was handled in a different way from the traditional dynamic of having a high flyer versus a powerhouse where you hope the high flyer eventually gets him down and can keep him there. Alberto's submission style made it so that Roman Reigns' strength was neutralized for a large portion of this match, because I don't care how strong you are, if you can't get leverage, you're not going to be able to pull off your moves. It also showed Roman Reigns in trouble for a good portion of the match, which helped lend him as a babyface, which is what WWE has been pushing for several months. I think this is the start of WWE fans finally beginning to buy him as a babyface just ever so slightly. Roman Reigns delivers, a Superman punch as it was Alberto coming off the top rope, and that leads into a spear. Good match, good positive start. Roman goes over. And of course, that kind of sets the stage for what was going to happen, because with the way the rest of the bracket fell out, they really did go with the biggest draw. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. The other World Heavyweight final match, or semi-final match, was Dean Ambrose versus Kevin Owens. This match was good because it broke down a lot of barriers. First of all, that there are people out there who believe that since Kevin Owens is, like myself, a slightly larger man, he should not be able to work and isn't capable of working for a long period of time in a match. We saw with his rivalry with John Cena that wasn't true, that he can go as long as he needs to, and this just further accentuated it. So anyone who still has that frame of reference, I don't know what you're not seeing in Kevin Owens, but he's a great superstar for the future, fantastic worker, and he doesn't fit the anthropomorphic mold of what a quote-unquote perfect wrestler would be, and that's a good thing in this modern environment. We're past the time where wrestlers look like they come out of comic books. I think it was also real beneficial for Dean because his performance through this whole night showed that he can be used anywhere on the card. Opening, mid-card, main event. He's versatile. You could use him anytime. Like right now, when all your major talent is on the shelf, be it due to previous commitments or injury. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. More good matches. Nothing bad to say. These guys really know how to work. Ambrose hits Dirty Deeds and pins Owens, and that sets up our finals. The clash of the Brothers of the Shield in the finals for the World Heavyweight title. I was excited because I couldn't wait. I will admit, before I go into that match, they did catch me off guard because I was legitimately expecting one of these two to go heel. I don't know why. I just thought it was a more compelling storyline, and I still believe it's more compelling than what they did end up finishing with. But on the whole, good decision all the way around. So now we come to the other traditional Survivor Series matchup of the night: The New Day, Sheamus and King Barrett versus the Usos, Ryback, and the Lucha Dragons. Oh boy. WWE has been in a fuss about race and racial insensitivity ever since Hogan's racially fueled comments from several years ago, but they've been brought back into light. So you would think providing a very white man in Sheamus along with the New Day and having him attempt to act black when he says we're going to get jiggy with it, that shouldn't be happening if you're that concerned about race. I mean, really. But it did. This match was a snooze fest. I'll be honest. Barrett goes away first, no surprise, and then Big E, after doing a big dive from the top rope, which is impressive for a 300-pound man, may I add. This guy can move. He's not just your typical 300-pound powerhouse, but he dives and gets hurt, and then the rest of the New Day decide to take him to the back, leaving Sheamus alone against the three surviving members of, I believe it was Jey Uso, Ryback, and Kalisto. And Sheamus proceeded to get his butt kicked, much as you would expect in a 3-on-1 situation. The action in the match was good, but I don't really think there was a place for it other than we actually have to have a Survivor Series style match on the actual pay-per-view if we're going to call it Survivor Series. That having been said, my one complaint would be I wish they would have advertised it instead of throwing the teams together at the last minute, but I guess they were flying by the seat of their pants. I've talked about this match way too much. On we go. Now, we come to the most intriguing match, the WWE Divas title match. WWE, I want to ask you something. I understand what you were trying to do with the contract signing. You were trying to clearly establish that you're supposed to cheer Charlotte as the babyface and boo Paige as the babyface. And since there were plenty of people who still actively cheer Paige, regardless of whether she's heel or babyface, myself included, you really wanted to set that line that she is the bad person in this matchup. I do not approve of the way that you went about it. It would have been one thing if Paige had attacked Ric Flair for his alcoholism, which he's come out about in the past, or his womanizing, which he's come out in the past. I would have been fine with either of those because Ric Flair is still here and able to defend himself. I am not cool in any circumstance with bringing Charlotte's dead brother Reed Flair into the conversation strictly for the purposes of generating heat. In fact, I'll ask anyone who watches this video to take this section of the video that I'm talking about right now, or take the whole video if you have to. Post it on WWE's Twitter and any other sort of social media accounts that they have under the hashtag disrespectful, respect the dead, or hashtag Reed Flair. Want to ask you, in your vaunted Be a Star campaign, WWE, where it stands for Show Tolerance and Respect, what was respectful about bringing someone's dead brother who overdosed on your company's watch, by the way, into a storyline just for the purposes of setting up that we're supposed to hate one wrestler over the other? That's disrespectful. I know I've seen it before in the WrestleMania 22 storyline between Rey Mysterio and Randy Orton when he told Rey Mysterio that Eddie wasn't up in heaven, that he was down there in hell. That was disrespectful then, too. I really would prefer not to see an angle like this again. But anyway, that's enough about the angle setup. Let's talk about the match, because this match has gotten a lot of flack from people on wrestling forums because it wasn't smooth, and thusly people think not being smooth equals botches. I'm going to explain this to you guys, and this is from a Mark who has never worked a day in the ring in his life, so you may say, oh, you're just like them. At least there's some sense in what I'm going to say. Now, when you bring someone's relative into it, you instantly make it personal, which means that the match is going to be more physical, or it should be. And as a result of that, moves are going to look a lot less smooth than when they're just two people going out and competing for a title. There's a difference between not looking smooth and botching. Mick Foley had dozens upon dozens of matches that were far from smooth, and yet he always took care, as best he could, of himself and his opponent. That's your goal, to get through the match without serious injury to anyone. That was accomplished, and I have to say the physicality in this match, I do believe, elevated the Divas Revolution to a point. Because these two are the best wrestlers you have, bar none. This rivalry isn't done, and I'd love to see more of it. I'd like to see, several trade-offs between Paige and Charlotte in the title, in matches that they're known for, or could become known for as a result. This was a fantastic match. More. And then, since the focus is back on the title, as opposed to my team can kick your team's butt, that will elevate the Divas division to where WWE wants it to be. So, we come to two members of the Wyatt family versus the Brothers of Destruction next up. I'm not going to, go through step by step in this match what went on, because it was an Undertaker and Kane highlight reel. Every move they've ever done that has gotten them over was on display in this match. And it was a joy to watch, because I've been an Undertaker and Kane fan basically since the inception of both characters. So it was great to see them have one last dominant run. The right team went over. I'm very happy, except for one thing. Now, I just said, bear in mind, that the right team went over. And I stand by that. They did. I do have a problem with how the Wyatt family has been booked. Because they have these fantastic build-ups. Their characters are a fantastic mix of creepy, hard to hurt. The Wyatt family is another angle that I have loved since its inception. And I know WWE would have you believe that we're in an era where wins and losses don't matter. Well, yeah, in one way they still do. Because how are you going to take a character or group of characters seriously if, yeah, they have these great build-ups for the matches on the pay-per-view that you're supposed to see, but in the end, you know that one side is going to get their butts kicked again and lose every time the big match is on the air. Now, for stars like Taker and Kane or big guys like Cena, yeah, I even said Cena. I'm fine with that because that's top tier talent. That's what the other talents are trying to be. But the Wyatts have been losing anytime they are out on TV lately, and you can't take them seriously as a threat, as menacing as they look, if you know they're going to lose every match. This is how it happens. The way to fix it is just have them start mauling people who aren't top tier, and then have us be surprised when they finally do take down a top tier tag team. I don't even know who the tag team champions are right now. Oh yeah, New Day. So you won't be seeing them, but the next time a babyface tag team like the Primetime Players or the Lucha Dragons take the titles, have the Wyatts there ready to go. And, that's how we can remedy this. That's how you can also remedy a lot of problems with the NXT talent you've been calling up lately, who, they have these great characters built up, and we watch them every week on NXT, and they have fantastic matches. Yeah, they don't win all the time, but they win enough where their characters are compelling, and then they come to Raw, and they're just a joke. They're just a joke because Vince McMahon feels they gotta pay their dues. I thought paying your dues was what NXT was for. That's why I'm not excited to see Finn Balor come up on the main roster anytime soon, because as great as his gimmick is, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Demon one day on Raw, I do not want him relegated to the, oh, we're excited he's here, and what are you doing with him? Nothing. That's what you've done this whole time. That's why Mick Foley himself has said he's about that close from stopping to be a wrestling fan. And you say that to Mick Foley? That is unbelievable, because he's as big of a wrestling fan as I am. So these are things WWE needs to fix, but I'm not the first to say it, I'm not the last to say it, maybe I'm the one to say it the most eloquently. That's the biggest compliment I'll give myself. Now, on to the finals of the World Heavyweight Tournament. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, these two tore up the house. And for the first time, I was really excited to see Roman Reigns work. I know, let your heart calm down. I know. Because I haven't been very complimentary of Roman Reigns. That's as much due with how WWE was holding his hand and not really letting his character develop. I think now he's finally in an angle where his character can develop for the positive to be the character WWE wants and needs him to be at this moment. These two, you can tell they respected each other. It was a great match. They pushed each other to the brink. Everybody hit their spots. I liked that they were able to counter or make the other person miss their signature moves the first couple times, because that shows that, hey, I remember you, I know you as well as you know yourself, so I can see almost everything that you have coming. Roman finally hits the spear on his brother and pins him 1, 2, 3. There was a great moment of respect, a slap on the back, a little hug. You got me this time, maybe I'll get you next time, and a crap ton of confetti came down in the ring. I feel so bad for the crew that had to clean that up after the pay-per-view was over. Triple H came down and tried to congratulate Roman and offered his hand, to which Roman gave him a good hearty spear, which I loved. And then came the swerve of the night. Not that we shouldn't have expected it at some point, because here comes Shamo, Fear the Hawk and all that, and he bro kicks Roman and cashes in his Money in the Bank, and I thought, that was it right there. Roman kicked out, so it took 2 bro kicks, which lends to Roman being the beast that's not Brock Lesnar that WWE is claiming him to be. I like that. It showed heart. It showed his willingness to fight. That being said, here's the problem you have with Sheamus as a champion as opposed to Roman Reigns. Now, Roman had been getting tepid reactions all throughout his career, and this crowd was no different. In fact, with the exception of the Undertaker and Kane and Wyatt matchup, that was the biggest pop of the night. Otherwise, this crowd in Atlanta couldn't give 2 craps about the whole show. I think they might still be bitter about WCW going under all those years ago. Atlanta, you're going to have to get over it at some point because it's done. That having been said, whether you love him or hate him, Roman is getting reactions. When you listen to the reaction Sheamus gets, it's almost non-existent. And in the wrestling business, that is the category equivalency of a character being dead in the water. Now maybe you can try to rehab Sheamus' image and make him into the rough and tough fighter that he claims to be. I do think that there's an interesting dynamic between Sheamus and Roman. 2 power guys. I like that kind of matchup where they can just go out and destroy each other. You can have some hardcore elements. TLC's coming up, so I'm sure we'll see a table, a ladder, some kind of match between those 2. It's gonna be good. I'm not saying you completely screwed the pooch on this one. I didn't expect it, and I don't like the initial direction it's going to go in. But it is what it is. Roman showed some great emotion, which is outside of the range of his character normally. I mean, other than being the mad Samoan that he usually is when somebody pisses him off, which is totally acceptable. It was good to see some frustration in his part, because before that it's like, okay, it's me versus everybody. Oh, they got me. I'll just get him next time. I like a range of emotion in the character. So, excuse me again. On the whole, if I had to rate this pay-per-view out of 5 stars, I'd give it 3.25 out of 5. What was done well was done really well, and what was done really bad, I don't put any onus on the actual talent. It all falls back to the suits and the management. It runs at the top. The talent is working with what they are given, and they aren't given much. So, if you polish a turd, guess what? All you got is a shiny turd. That's what WWE has right now, is its shiny turd. It can fix it, but because it has no serious competition, it's not going to. And having been said, I'd like to thank everybody for watching. Ranter's getting ready to step off his soapbox. If you like what you heard, click that little like button. And if you really like me, and you're like, I want to see every time this guy produces a video, click that subscribe button, give that a like. You can drop a bionic elbow on it if you like. I'm sure Dusty'd be proud of you if you did. Anyway, I'll catch you guys later. Ranter off the soapbox. See ya!